abanyesengero basabwe kugira ibyo bavugurura barabivugurura bashyiramo amafaranga nabyo bigiye gusaza zitarataha
iyo bibagewe nta nsengero nafungura nimwe n'ibyo dukora tubikora nyine byose kugira ngo abantu nayo insengero muri development muri ibi byose twavugaga intambara ziri ku isi na survival y'igihugu insengero zifitemo uruhare iki nazo ziratanga akazi se they are just cheating abenshi they are just cheating ariko mubahehe mwebwe ngewe ibyo mbona ko ari abantu huzuyemo ububande gusa kurwana n'ababande bari mu churches nabyo nta mpuhwe mbifitiye na busa rwose ariko mwebwe abakoroni barabarindagije namwe murarindagira ubu ibintu twirwe tuganira ibintu bya church ibisengero wagiye mujye guhinga mworore mujye gusenga nushaka usengere kuri telefone ibyo churches aho byaturutse ntuhazi churches ahantu hose ziri ahubwo ndetse buriya nuko dushaka gushyira ibintu mu kuri ntitudashaka guhutaza abantu tugira kwigisha naho hafunzwe nke
ikibazo kirimo nyakubahwa perezida wa repubulika kubera hari uturere tumwe zifunguye abaturage baturuka mu turere aho zifunze bajya gutera umubyigano
naho tuzazifunge ahubwo aho ziri ubwo tuzazifunga bajye basengera mu rugo rwose iri senga abanyafurika
niba munyina ikindi kibazo kimwe kirebana n'inyambo ejo bundi mwagabiye miri wa Katari inyambo Albert Rudatsimburwa twaze tuganira avuga ati birakwiye ko inyambo zishyirwa mu murage w'igihugu ku buryo buri official ibyo bintu mwese mubitekerezaho bizakorwa ryari
muzabitekerezeho mwebwe muzabitekerezaho mubikore njye mfite inyambo ndazitunze ndishimye uko muzazigenza migirire gute ibyo birabareba njye nzatunga ngabe nishime nyambo ko ari amateka yacu se mwe mukora akazi ko ibyo birabareba muzabishyiremo ngewe ntabwo ngiye kubishyiriramo kubera ko ndi umworozi none se ntufite uko communicating na leta mwe muzabikurikirana ibyo birabareba
Next, Bloomberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. Ondiro Ganga with Bloomberg News. I just have a couple of things I'd like to hear from you. If we look at gold prices, they've hit an all-time high in the market. In the context of Rwanda, IMF projects that by the end of the year, gold is going to account for half of your export revenue, about $2 billion by the end of this year. But in the same breath, we have seen sanctions, particularly from the EU, on the country's main smelter, Kasabo, and some of its executives. So in lieu of the sanctions, what is Rwanda currently doing with its gold? And maybe if you can broaden out that conversation for me, what is the importance of gold in Rwanda's economy? And do you have specific plans to develop the gold industry? Thank you very much.
Do you want to advise those who are applying sanctions? I'm saying, do you want people to add more sanctions to stop that, or what?
No, I want to know if you're not selling it to the EU, because Rwanda also has a really big deal, about $900 million mineral deal with the EU. Yeah. So if they're off the table, if that is frozen, what is currently happening?
There's nothing frozen. There's nothing frozen. You know what they sanctioned? They are individuals who led that refinery. But the refinery operates, right?
So that I don't misquote you, Rwanda is still selling its gold to the EU?
It's selling gold to the market. Whether EU, the Gulf region, or United States. I don't know whether I'm getting your question properly, but there is definitely gold. We have gold here, by the way. Do you know it? You know a place called Miove? You have heard? During the war of 92-3, our soldiers were operating in that region. Miove, there is a swamp, you know it? In Chumbi. Our fighters woke up and found some stones they didn't know flowing along the river, and they picked that stuff. And in fact, we sold it, sent it through to Uganda, sold it. It bought us, we were able to buy some meals for a week. Just from the gold we picked. The mining still goes on artisanal, and now they are doing deep exploration to see if there is gold in Nyamagabe area, near Nyungwe. A lot of gold comes from there, and so on and so forth. Then more gold comes from, and gold has been coming through here or sold here from Congo as it goes through Burundi or goes through Uganda. So there's nothing particular about gold and Rwanda that people should blah, blah, blah about. Even the refinery, but you know the sanctions, if you followed, the sanctions, they sanctions 2 individuals. What does that have to do with gold? Impact of Rwanda on the market, or well, it must be there. I haven't calculated it, but the impact must be positive, must be there relative to the price of gold going up. I've been seeing it is now at around 4,000. Yes, 4,000 plus dollars per ounce, I think. That's huge. As you see it, you may end up, and it has nothing to do with Rwanda, you may end up having wars around gold, those who need it and those who produce it in the world. And those who have more will get more involved than those of us. We are talking about young or small people. Rwanda always carries the burden of the whole world by itself. You know, there are people doing everything, even in a worse form than probably we're accused of, but they prefer to point at Rwanda for everything. Can you imagine Rwanda being a point of reference to do with this global network of gold trade? You get it clearly that it is politics, it is geopolitics, it is some nastiness that goes on every day. Otherwise, how does Rwanda really surface in all this?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Someone else want
yes,
to?
One last question from Jackie.
Thank you very much. Your Excellency, my name is Jackie Lumbasi. I host the Real Talk on RTV. And Your Excellency, what I do on this program is try to bring out the person behind the title. There's a former Prime Minister who was once asked what was the toughest part about his job, and he said the toughest part of his job was parenting his son. And to someone else who think when you're a president or you're a prime minister, that should be the hardest job. I would love to hear from you as a parent. So in this case, putting aside the president, I would love to talk to PK, the father, the grandfather, if you've ever had to struggle with anything as a parent, what would that be? And then with the grandchildren growing, I wonder if you're picking them from school, or dropping them there. What have they done lately that got you smiling? Some of the images that I've seen online of you, the most beautiful images are those of you around your family. So clearly, the family means a lot to you. And so as you also talk to Rwanda's young people about preserving what we have built as a country, protecting what we have, someone could think maybe you're not talking to your children as well. They could try to put them on the side. As you watch your granddaughters grow and the many other grandchildren that will come, how would you like them to view Rwanda's transformational journey and the role that their grandfather has played? Thank you, Your Excellency.
That sounds like a long story to tell. But, well, thank you to in any case, bring it up and reference that. My family, whether immediate or the generation is springing from that, first and foremost, the central part of me and what I do and how I do it, but above all, I enjoy it. I enjoy family. I don't find any problems except running around with children so they don't break their legs or fingers or something, but it's all enjoyable, 100%. But in doing that, you want your own children or those from them, as they grow up, to just be decent people in their lives. Decent meaning the core part being what is expected of them in society and by so, but also making their own mistakes and owning up and growing with the purpose that they can live and lead in the society where they grow up in. They must have some bearing, the bearing being the Rwanda, the family, so we would, and for those ones, other than the grandchildren, the children, we once in a while we have a discussion around that. And I have time to tell them my experience, my life, young, middle age, growing up to the age where I am, and all that the family, my wife and I have had to go through to make sure that first we survive and they survive, and so the efforts can't be for nothing. The efforts can only be for the fact that they must grow up as decent human beings as much as they can. I can tell them so much, but only they can do so much. And if they can learn from that, which we always have to insist and they do, well, that's it. And actually the issue of them growing up as president's son or daughter or grandchildren does not feature much. We try to remove that from the conversation as much as we can. They just have to grow up as decent human beings. If they become presidents themselves or become whatever they want to become or become nothing, that's up to them. They know how to live with it.